Ladies and gentlemen, let me talk to you about something powerful today. Something deep. Something many of us overlook in the rush to be seen, to be heard, to be noticed. Sometimes God hides you. He puts you in a place where it feels like nobody sees you. Like your efforts are going unnoticed, your talent isn't appreciated, and your dreams are delayed. But let me tell you this, He hides you for a reason. Think about it. When a seed is planted, it's buried beneath the soil. It's covered in darkness. Nobody sees it growing. Nobody celebrates what's happening underground. But something is happening. It's taking root. It's getting stronger. It's preparing itself to break through. The same thing happens to you. God doesn't bury you to leave you. He plants you to prepare you. Preparation comes before elevation. Too many people want the spotlight before they're ready. They want the stage without the preparation, but God knows better. He knows that if you step into the light too soon, it could destroy you. You see, the weight of success is heavy. So the higher you go, the stronger your foundation has to be. So when God hides you, it's because He's working on you. He's teaching you patience, humility, and discipline. He's strengthening your character so that when the time comes, you won't just shine, you'll endure. Protection comes in the darkness. There's another reason God hides you protection. Not everyone deserves to see your potential. Not everyone deserves access to your gifts. Sometimes He keeps you hidden to protect you from people who might misuse or misunderstand what He's placed inside of you. Some battles you're not meant to fight right now. Some rooms you're not supposed to walk into just yet. It's not rejection, it's protection. God knows what you're ready for, and He knows what's waiting for you. The waiting season isn't tea wasted. But I get it, being hidden isn't easy. It can feel lonely. It can feel like you're being overlooked. But let me remind you of something. The waiting season is never wasted. David was anointed as king, but he didn't step into that role immediately. He went back to tending sheep. Back to the fields. Back to the place where no one saw him. But in that place, God was preparing him, teaching him how to lead, developing his courage, building his trust. So, if you're in that season of being hidden, don't fight it. Don't rush it. Embrace it. Trust the process. Because the process is what shapes you into the person you need to be for the promise ahead. Your time will come. When the time is right, God will reveal you. You won't have to force it. You won't have to beg for attention or prove your worth. The door will open and you'll walk through it knowing you're ready. And when that moment comes, you'll realize something powerful. The hiding wasn't to punish you, it was to prepare you. So don't despise the hidden seasons of your life. God isn't punishing you. He isn't ignoring you. He's preparing you for something greater than you can imagine. Trust Him. Trust the process. And when it's time, you'll be ready. God hides you for a reason. Never forget that. Preparation is often seen as a behind-the-scenes process, something that happens quietly without fanfare or applause. In a world that constantly craves instant success and instant recognition, we often overlook the importance of preparation. We're taught to focus on the outcome, the end result, the finish line. But what many fail to understand is that without proper preparation, elevation can become a fleeting moment, easily lost in the chaos of unpreparedness. The truth is, preparation comes before elevation. The most successful individuals, whether in business, sports, or personal development, understand that success isn't just about seizing an opportunity when it comes. It's about being ready for that opportunity before it even arrives. Preparation is the groundwork, the foundation that supports everything that follows. If you are to ascend to any significant level in life, it's not the moment of elevation that matters most. What matters is what you did in the quiet moments leading up to it. When we talk about preparation, we often imagine studying for an exam, practicing for a big game, or rehearsing for a performance. But preparation goes far beyond these physical acts. It's about building the mental, emotional, and spiritual fortitude to withstand the challenges and pressures that come with success. It's about developing the resilience needed to thrive when you are in the spotlight, to handle the responsibility that comes with greater influence, and to manage the expectations that will inevitably come your way. It's the work done in solitude, in those moments when no one is watching, that determines how you handle the weight of elevation when it comes. Let's consider the example of a seed planted in the ground. At first, the seed is hidden. It's buried beneath the soil, away from the light. Nobody sees the roots slowly spreading beneath the surface or the way the seed breaks open to begin its growth. But this is essential. If the seed were to sprout too soon, it wouldn't be able to withstand the forces of nature. If it tried to grow without being properly rooted, it would topple over, exposed and vulnerable. The seed must first prepare itself, take root and grow strong before it can rise to the surface and reach toward the light. In the same way, we are often hidden and unseen during our preparation phase. But it is in this phase that our foundation is solidified, allowing us to stand firm when the time comes to elevate. The challenge we face is that preparation is often an invisible process. It doesn't come with immediate recognition or reward. It's easy to feel frustrated when you've put in so much work and effort, but haven't yet been recognized for it. We want the spotlight now, and we want the rewards now. But this rush for elevation without proper preparation is like trying to build a skyscraper without first digging a solid foundation. The higher you aim to go, the stronger your foundation needs to be. Without preparation, the structure will collapse under the weight of its own ambition. True elevation isn't about reaching the top quickly, it's about reaching it steadily, securely, and sustainably. Preparation also requires a willingness to endure hardship and adversity. When you are in the early stages of your journey, it can often feel like you're moving forward without much progress. You may feel like you're stuck in the same place, working hard but seeing little result. But this is exactly where the most important work happens. It's in these quiet, uncelebrated moments that your character is being shaped. The challenges you face during this time build your endurance, your strength, and your resilience. If you were to skip this phase, you would miss out on the growth that equips you for the challenges that lie ahead. There's also the aspect of learning that comes with preparation. Every successful person has gone through a period of learning, making mistakes, and gaining experience. You can't shortcut this process. It's the same with any skill or talent. Whether it's learning to play an instrument, learning a new language, or learning how to run a business, mastery takes time. You cannot rise to a high level without first mastering the basics. Without mastering the foundational elements, your elevation will be shaky at best. If you're not ready to handle the responsibility, the resources, or the influence that comes with success, it will be hard to sustain it. Preparation gives you the knowledge and the wisdom to navigate the complex terrain that success brings. This is why those who experience rapid success often struggle the hardest when they rise too quickly. Without proper preparation, their success becomes a burden instead of a blessing. They lack the emotional maturity to handle the pressure, the mental fortitude to navigate the challenges, and the spiritual grounding to stay humble and focused. Success without preparation can quickly turn into stress, burnout, and failure. The more prepared you are, the more capable you are of handling what comes your way. And in the long run, the rewards of preparation far outweigh the rush for instant gratification. Consider an athlete training for the Olympics. Every day, they wake up early, put in hours of practice, and push their body to its limits. They don't see the results immediately. There are no gold medals, no accolades, no standing ovations. Just sweat, pain, and sacrifice. But each training session is a step forward, a small victory that leads them closer to their goal. They're not concerned with the applause or the recognition. They're focused on perfecting their craft. When the time comes for them to compete, they will have the stamina, the skill, and the strength to perform at their best. The preparation phase is just as important, if not more important, than the event itself. Without it, the athlete would never be able to reach their full potential. We also see this in the lives of great leaders. Leaders are not born overnight. Leadership is developed through experience, through overcoming challenges, and through learning from others. Great leaders are those who have faced adversity and come out stronger. They are the ones who have learned how to communicate effectively, how to motivate others, and how to make tough decisions. These skills aren't developed in the heat of the moment. They are honed over time through years of preparation. When the moment of elevation arrives, they are ready to lead, not because they have just stepped into the role, but because they have spent years learning, growing, and preparing for it. This principle also applies to our spiritual lives. The Bible teaches us that trials and tribulations produce perseverance, and perseverance leads to maturity and completeness. When God allows us to go through seasons of hardship, He is preparing us for something greater. The trials are not punishments, they are opportunities for growth. Through our struggles, we learn to trust more deeply, to develop a stronger character, and to build a deeper relationship with God. Just as a tree must endure harsh weather to grow deep roots, we must endure challenges in life to develop the strength necessary for elevation. The more we grow in faith and wisdom, the better prepared we are to handle the blessings that come with success. There is also a connection between preparation and the pursuit of excellence. Excellence is not about showing up and doing the bare minimum. It's about giving your best effort day in and day out. It's about striving for continuous improvement, honing your skills, and constantly growing. When you prepare yourself with excellence, you set a standard for yourself that demands more than mediocrity. You challenge yourself to be the best you can be, and as you continue to grow, you increase your capacity to achieve greater things. In the end, the elevation you seek will only be as high as the preparation that came before it. If you rush the process, if you try to skip steps, you risk falling short of your potential. True elevation is a process. It takes time. It takes work. It requires patience, discipline, and persistence. And when you finally arrive at the place you've been preparing for, you will realize that it wasn't the moment of elevation that made the difference. It was everything you did before that moment. Preparation is the key to true and lasting success. It is the foundation upon which everything else is built. So when the time comes for you to rise, make sure you are ready. Because preparation always comes before elevation. There's a deep truth that often gets overlooked in our fast-paced world, where everyone is trying to get to the top as quickly as possible. We spend so much time chasing the light, the recognition, the success, the fame, that we forget about the power of the darkness. We fear being in the dark. We fear being unseen, overlooked, and unnoticed. But here's the thing, protection often comes in the darkness. When we talk about darkness, we're not referring to evil or fear or despair, but to the times in life when things aren't clear, when we feel hidden, when we're not where we thought we would be. These are the seasons when we don't see the results of our labor, when we don't have the audience we desire, when we don't yet have the things we're striving for. We look at others who are shining in the light, who are getting the attention, the applause, and we wonder why we're still waiting in the shadows. But there is a hidden blessing in the darkness, a blessing that often comes in the form of protection. In the dark, when no one is watching, when we feel isolated, something powerful is happening. We are being shielded. We are being prepared. God knows what is ahead, and He knows when we're not yet ready for what's coming. The darkness becomes a place of refuge, a space where we can grow, heal, and strengthen ourselves before the storm of success and the weight of public recognition arrive. Just like a seed planted in the soil, the darkness allows us to grow in ways we can't always see. A seed is hidden, buried deep in the earth, where no one can see it. But during this time, it's taking root, establishing a foundation, absorbing nourishment, and becoming strong. If the seed were exposed to the light too early, it wouldn't be able to survive the harsh conditions. It needs the darkness to protect it, to nurture it, so that when it breaks through the surface, it can endure. The same is true for us. If we rush out into the light before we've been properly prepared, we may not be able to handle the weight of success, the pressures of visibility, or the demands of public life. Protection comes in the form of being hidden for a while, of not being seen, because in that space we can grow and become strong enough to handle what's ahead. But protection in the darkness is not just about shielding us from harm. It's also about shielding us from the distractions, the negative influences, and the toxic relationships that could derail us from our purpose. In the light, we become more visible, not just to those who wish to support us, but also to those who wish to tear us down. There's an old saying that when you rise, you become a target. The more visible you are, the more others take notice, and not all attention is good attention. The darkness protects us from this. It shields us from the criticism, the gossip, and the judgments that could break us before we are strong enough to stand. In the darkness, we're free from the need for validation. We can work on our craft, focus on our goals, and build the confidence and clarity we need to rise above the noise when the time is right. Consider the life of a tree. The roots of a tree are always hidden beneath the earth, unseen by the world above. Yet it is in the darkness of the soil that the roots grow deep and strong, holding the tree steady against storms, wind, and other natural forces. The stronger the roots, the higher the tree can grow. Without those deep hidden roots, the tree would have no foundation and it would not be able to stand tall. The same applies to us. Our foundation is often built in the darkness. The experiences, struggles, and lessons that no one sees are the things that keep us grounded when we begin to rise. When we are hidden away from the public eye, we have the time and space to grow deeper, to strengthen our resolve, and to prepare ourselves for the challenges ahead. The darkness also serves as a time for reflection and healing. When we are in the dark, when we are hidden from the world, we have the opportunity to look inward. We can examine our thoughts, our emotions, and our past. We can address wounds that need healing, insecurities that need to be overcome, and fears that need to be faced. In the light, we're too busy performing, too busy trying to live up to others' expectations, too busy trying to fit into a mold that society has created for us. But in the darkness, we can strip away all the distractions. We can focus on becoming whole. We can confront the things within us that need to be healed, nurtured, and restored. Think about the growth of a butterfly. Before it can soar freely in the sky, it must first spend time in the cocoon. During this time, it is hidden away from the world, protected from the outside elements. Inside the cocoon, it undergoes a complete transformation. The butterfly's body is broken down and rebuilt, and it emerges stronger, more beautiful, and more capable of flying. That period of darkness is not a punishment, it's a necessary step in the process of transformation. Without it, the butterfly would not survive, and it would never reach its full potential. In the same way, we too undergo periods of transformation in darkness. We go through times of personal growth and change that prepare us for the life we're meant to live. If we try to skip over these periods of darkness, we risk shortchanging our own transformation. Another example can be found in the way the moon shines. The moon, as we know, doesn't create its own light. Instead, it reflects the light of the sun. But in order for the moon to reflect the sun's light fully, it must first go through phases of darkness. There are times when the moon is completely hidden, when it cannot be seen at all. But during this time, it's being recharged, replenished, and repositioned so that when it reappears in the sky, it can shine brighter and more clearly than before. Just as the moon goes through cycles of darkness before it shines, we too go through cycles of being hidden before we are ready to reflect our own light. The darkness gives us the opportunity to recharge, to replenish ourselves, and to get into position to shine when the time is right. There's also something sacred about the darkness. It's in the quiet, hidden places of life that we hear God's voice most clearly. When we're in the spotlight, when we're surrounded by people, it's easy to get distracted by all the noise. But in the darkness, we can hear the still small voice that guides us. The darkness provides the space for us to connect with our higher purpose, to listen to our inner voice, and to receive the direction we need for the next steps in our journey. Just like a seed must be buried in the soil to grow, we must sometimes retreat into the hidden places of life to hear the whispers of wisdom and clarity that will guide us to our next phase of growth. And when the time comes for us to step out of the darkness and into the light, we do so with a sense of strength, purpose, and authenticity that we would not have had if we had rushed into the light too soon. We emerge like a butterfly from its cocoon, ready to soar to new heights, because we have been transformed in the darkness. We have been protected, nurtured, and prepared for what lies ahead. It's easy to fear the darkness, to feel as though we're being punished or overlooked. But in reality, the darkness is a place of protection and preparation. It's in the dark that we grow strong, that we heal, that we become rooted, and that we prepare for the light. If we can embrace the darkness instead of running from it, we will come out on the other side stronger, wiser, and more capable of handling the success that awaits us. So the next time you find yourself in a season of darkness, remember, it's not a place of defeat. It's a place of protection. Trust the process. Embrace the darkness, because it's in the hidden places that you are being prepared for something greater. In our world today, we are conditioned to believe that if we're not constantly moving, achieving, and getting things done, we're wasting time. We live in an era of instant gratification where speed is not just valued but expected. We can send messages instantly, get fast food in minutes, and access information with a few clicks. In this kind of world, waiting often feels like a waste of time. It feels like we're being idle, stuck in neutral, and going nowhere. But the truth is that the waiting season isn't wasted. Waiting is not a period of inactivity, rather, it's a critical time of preparation and growth. Just because we're not seeing results immediately doesn't mean we're not doing the necessary work. In fact, some of the most important work happens in the waiting. It's in this waiting period that our character is shaped, our strength is built, and our readiness for the next chapter of life is prepared. If we look closely, we can see that waiting is far from a waste. It is, in fact, one of the most productive and transformative seasons of our lives. Think about the process of planting a seed. The moment a seed is buried in the ground, it is no longer visible to the world. It's hidden beneath the surface, and to the untrained eye, it may appear to be doing nothing. But underneath the soil, a process is taking place. The seed is germinating, putting down roots, and preparing to sprout. There's movement beneath the surface, and this movement is necessary for the seed to grow into something strong and life-giving. If the seed were dug up too early, it would not survive the process. It must wait. It must be nurtured in silence before it can break through the surface and reach the light. The same principle applies to us. Just because we are not visible, just because we are not in the spotlight, doesn't mean we aren't growing, changing, and preparing for what's next. The waiting season is a season of foundation building. It's a time when the roots of our dreams, our values, and our strength are being formed in ways that will support us when we finally step into the light. In our waiting, we also learn the power of patience. Patience is a muscle that must be developed just like any other skill. And just as a muscle grows stronger with resistance, our patience is strengthened through waiting. This doesn't mean waiting without purpose or without effort. It means waiting with a sense of trust, knowing that what is meant for us will come in due time. When we are in a season of waiting, we learn how to endure. We learn how to persevere despite the lack of immediate results. We learn how to keep moving forward, even when it feels like progress is slow or non-existent. This ability to persevere through waiting is what sets apart those who eventually achieve their goals from those who give up too soon. Waiting doesn't mean you're not doing the work. It means you're trusting the process and allowing the right conditions to develop so that when your time comes, you're ready to thrive. Consider the caterpillar's transformation into a butterfly. Before it can take flight, the caterpillar must first go through a period of stillness and waiting in its cocoon. During this time, it's not sitting idle, its body is undergoing an incredible metamorphosis. But from the outside, it appears to be in a state of inactivity. There's no visible progress, there's no movement. And yet, inside the cocoon, the caterpillar is being completely transformed. It's a reminder that sometimes we need periods of stillness to undergo our own internal transformations. The waiting season is not about doing nothing, it's about becoming who we need to be in order to soar. Just as the butterfly could never fly if it rushed through the cocoon phase, we can't rush through our own personal growth. Waiting is a season of refining, of becoming the person we need to be before we can spread our wings and reach our full potential. In the Bible, there are many examples of people who experienced long seasons of waiting. Consider the story of Joseph. Joseph had big dreams as a young man, dreams of greatness and success. But instead of being immediately thrust into positions of power, he was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, and then unjustly imprisoned. From the outside, it looked like Joseph's dreams were a waste. It looked like his life was going nowhere. But Joseph's time in the pit, his time in the prison were not wasted. They were critical to his development. In those years, Joseph learned lessons that would shape his leadership abilities, his wisdom, and his ability to handle power when it finally came. Without those years of waiting, without those periods of suffering and solitude, Joseph would not have been prepared to manage the great responsibilities that came with being second in command in Egypt. Similarly, consider the story of David. As a young shepherd, David was anointed by Samuel to be king of Israel. But he did not immediately ascend to the throne. Instead, David spent years in hiding, running from Saul, the current king, who sought to kill him. During this time, David's faith, his character, and his leadership abilities were tested and refined. He learned what it meant to rely on God and to lead with humility. If David had been made king immediately after his anointing, he would not have been prepared to lead the people with wisdom and courage. His waiting was not wasted. It was part of God's plan to prepare him for the throne. These stories remind us that sometimes the waiting seasons are not only necessary for our growth, but they are part of a larger plan that we may not fully understand at the time. There's another powerful lesson in the waiting season, and that is the opportunity for self-reflection. When we are in a holding pattern, when it feels like everything is on pause, we have the chance to turn inward and reflect on where we are and where we want to go. Waiting forces us to evaluate our desires, our goals, and our motivations. It gives us time to reassess our priorities and to make sure that we are aligned with our true purpose. Sometimes we rush through life without taking the time to ask ourselves the important questions. What do we really want? What kind of person do we want to become? What kind of impact do we want to make? Waiting allows us the space to answer these questions. It gives us time to course correct, to clarify our vision, and to recalibrate our efforts so that when we do step forward, we do so with clarity and purpose. And in the process of waiting, we also learn to embrace the present moment. In our fast-paced world, we are often so focused on what's next that we forget to fully experience what's happening right now. Waiting forces us to be present. It forces us to slow down and appreciate the journey. Yes, we may have big goals and dreams, but we cannot rush through life just to get to the end. We must learn to appreciate the process, to embrace the moments of stillness and solitude, and to recognize the value of each day. Every step we take, even if it feels small or insignificant, is part of the journey that leads us to our ultimate destination. The waiting season is not a time to look ahead with impatience. It's a time to look around and see the beauty in what is happening right now. Waiting also teaches us the power of trust. When we wait, we are forced to trust that what we want is coming. We may not know when, how, or in what form, but we must trust that the things we desire will manifest in due time. This trust is not passive, it's active trust. A trust that drives us to continue to prepare ourselves, to continue to work, and to continue to believe that what is meant for us will come at the right time. Trusting in the waiting is a sign of faith that doesn't require immediate results, but believes in the process and the timing of life. The waiting season is a time of growth, reflection, patience, and trust. It's not a time of inactivity, it's a time of becoming. It's a time when we develop the strength, the wisdom, and the character that will support us when our moment finally arrives. So the next time you find yourself in a season of waiting, don't view it as wasted time. Instead, see it for what it truly is, a necessary part of your journey, a time for preparation, growth, and transformation. Embrace the waiting for, and it lies the power to become everything you were meant to be. In a world where speed and efficiency are often celebrated as the ultimate goals, the idea of slowing down and not rushing the process can seem foreign. We're constantly pressured to move fast, to get ahead, to finish things quickly, and to be productive at all times. From the moment we wake up, our minds are bombarded with tasks, deadlines, and expectations, many of which leave us feeling like there's not enough time in the day. The very concept of waiting, of letting things unfold naturally and at their own pace, is not only overlooked but even feared. We want results now. We want success yesterday. But the truth is that rushing the process often leads to missed opportunities and unfulfilled potential. Think about it, life isn't a race, it's a journey, and this journey cannot and should not be rushed. It's true that the world we live in today has created an environment where we are conditioned to believe that faster is always better. With technology advancing rapidly, we have become accustomed to getting information, food, and services at lightning speed. We send emails in seconds, communicate with people on the other side of the world instantly, and even access knowledge without having to step into a library. While all of these innovations are amazing, they have also contributed to a culture of impatience. The pressure to constantly be on the go and to see immediate results can leave us feeling anxious and unsettled. It can also prevent us from embracing one of the most important elements of success, the process itself. The process is where real growth happens. It's where the foundation is built, where lessons are learned, and where we develop the mental, emotional, and physical strength needed to carry us to the next level. But too often, we overlook the value of the journey in favor of a more immediate payoff. We rush through important moments, fail to savor the lessons, and then wonder why we are not as fulfilled or prepared as we thought we would be when we reach our destination. The reality is that success, true success, doesn't happen overnight. It's the result of consistent effort, of making progress each day, no matter how small. It's about taking the time to grow, to evolve, and to learn. And that can't be rushed. When we rush through life, we miss the subtle shifts that shape who we are. Growth doesn't happen by simply moving from one point to the next. It happens as we immerse ourselves in the experience, as we reflect on what we've learned, and as we adjust along the way. If we are too focused on the destination, we fail to enjoy and understand the journey. It's the little moments, the hard times, the mistakes, the failures, and the triumphs that make us who we are. If we rush past them, we deny ourselves the chance to fully embrace the lessons they offer. It's not about how quickly we get there, it's about who we become in the process. Take the example of a person trying to build a career. In the early stages, it might feel frustrating because the results don't come fast enough. The road to success often feels slow, filled with struggles and setbacks that seem to stretch on endlessly. But this is where the most important work happens. In those early days, we learn not only about our profession, but about ourselves. We develop resilience, we refine our skills, and we discover the depths of our own determination. Every failure, every challenge, every small success is shaping us into the person we need to be in order to handle the responsibilities and opportunities that will come later. If we rush through this process, we miss out on those critical lessons. We might reach a point of success without truly understanding how we got there or being equipped to sustain it. Similarly, consider the way we approach relationships. Relationships are one of the most important aspects of our lives, yet many of us are in such a rush to find the perfect partner, to create a picture-perfect family, or to establish deep friendships that we overlook the importance of taking our time. True, lasting relationships aren't built on rushes, they're built on understanding, trust, and respect. These qualities take time to develop. If we rush into a relationship without truly getting to know the other person, without allowing the bond to grow organically, we may end up in relationships that are superficial, fragile, or unsustainable. Real connection requires patience. It requires giving each person the space to grow, to reveal themselves, and to create a foundation of mutual understanding. And this doesn't happen overnight. Relationships take work, patience, and most importantly, time. The same principle applies to personal growth. Many of us want to be the best versions of ourselves, but often we want it to happen quickly. We look for shortcuts, for hacks, or for easy fixes that will help us reach our potential faster. But growth doesn't work that way. It's a slow, often uncomfortable process. It involves confronting our weaknesses, dealing with our insecurities, and pushing ourselves beyond our comfort zones. If we try to speed this up, we risk skipping over the crucial stages of development. We need time to build the inner strength, wisdom, and perspective that will allow us to truly grow. Personal development isn't about checking off boxes on a to-do list. It's about taking the time to understand ourselves, to challenge our beliefs, and to become the person we were meant to be. This requires patience and persistence, not rush. In the same vein, consider the way we often approach our health and fitness goals. Many people begin a fitness journey with high expectations, wanting to see drastic changes in a short amount of time. While it's true that progress is possible, it's not always immediate. The process of getting fit, staying healthy, and developing good habits is slow and requires consistency. People who rush through the process by pushing themselves too hard or by seeking quick fixes often experience burnout or injury. They become disillusioned when they don't see instant results. But the people who succeed in their fitness goals are the ones who understand that the journey is as important as the destination. They take the time to build healthy habits, to learn about their bodies, and to make gradual improvements. Over time, the results come, but it's the process that shapes the foundation for sustainable success. Life in many ways is like growing a tree. A tree doesn't grow overnight, nor does it rush its growth. It starts with a tiny seed, and with time it takes root, grows slowly, and eventually becomes something strong and beautiful. If you try to force the process, if you attempt to make it grow faster than it's supposed to, you risk damaging the tree or stunting its growth. It's the same with our lives. If we rush through the process of growth, we risk not developing the strength or resilience we need to handle the challenges ahead. Every stage of growth is important, and every step of the process plays a crucial role in shaping who we become. So what do we do with this knowledge? How do we avoid the trap of rushing the process? It begins with acceptance. We must accept that success takes time, that growth takes time, and that the journey is just as important as the destination. We need to embrace the process and trust it. This doesn't mean being passive or complacent, but rather it means being consistent, showing up every day, and committing to the long-term vision. It means taking the time to enjoy the small victories, learning from the setbacks, and knowing that every moment is part of a larger picture. We don't need to rush, we need to trust that. If we keep putting in the effort, the results will come when the time is right. Additionally, we must cultivate patience. Patience doesn't mean sitting idly by, it means staying committed to the process, even when things seem slow. It means continuing to do the work day in and day out, even when we don't see immediate rewards. Patience allows us to stay the course, to remain focused on the bigger picture, and to trust that all of our efforts will eventually pay off. It's a reminder that life doesn't have to be rushed to be meaningful or fulfilling. In the end, the most important thing is not how quickly we get to our goals, but how we approach the journey. If we embrace the process, if we allow ourselves to grow and develop at our own pace, we can achieve more than we ever thought possible. So don't rush the process. Let it unfold naturally. Trust the journey. And in time, you will see that everything you need is already coming together. There's a quiet power in knowing that your time will come. In a world obsessed with instant gratification and immediate results, it's easy to forget the importance of patience and timing. Everyone seems to be in a rush, constantly striving for success and recognition, wanting to fast-track their dreams. Social media is flooded with stories of people reaching their goals, achieving their dreams, and living lives of fulfillment. The pressure to measure up, to get there faster, and to make your mark as quickly as possible is overwhelming. But amid all the noise and haste, there's a deeper truth that must be understood. Your time will come. The world doesn't work on anyone else's timeline but your own. And while it may seem like everyone around you is moving forward, gaining momentum and finding success, you must understand that your journey is uniquely yours. It's easy to get caught up in comparing your progress to others, but the truth is that the pace of your life, your career, your personal growth, and your dreams is not something that can be dictated by anyone else. It is your journey, and it unfolds at the right time, even if it doesn't always match what you see in others. It's important to recognize that success is not a race. You do not have to get there before anyone else. You do not have to measure your achievements against the timeline of someone else's life. The most significant and impactful successes come when they are meant to, not when we force them. We are all at different stages, living different lives and walking different paths. Some people may seem like they have it all together, but appearances can be deceiving. Just because someone else seems to be moving ahead doesn't mean that your time hasn't arrived or that it won't arrive when the moment is right. The truth is that everything has a season. The timing of events in life is not something we can control. It's easy to become frustrated when it feels like things aren't moving in the direction we want. You might look around and see others achieving what you want, finding success, getting the job, the promotion, or the relationship, and you may wonder why it's not happening for you. But consider this: the timing of everything in your life has a purpose. There's a reason why certain doors haven't opened yet. There's a reason why certain dreams haven't materialized. There's a reason why your time hasn't come yet. And when it does come, it will be everything you need and more. One of the most important lessons in life is to understand that you don't need to force things. Life unfolds naturally, and we must trust the process. This does not mean that you should be passive or complacent. It does not mean that you should wait idly for opportunities to come to you. It means that you should be patient, trust the journey, and take the necessary steps forward, knowing that the right time will arrive when it's supposed to. It means doing the work, putting in the effort, staying disciplined, and being ready when your opportunity finally knocks. It means trusting in the process and understanding that there are lessons you need to learn along the way before you reach your full potential. Too many people rush through life wanting to get to the end result without fully experiencing and understanding the process. They want to get to the destination without appreciating the journey. But the journey is where the most significant growth happens. It is in the waiting, the preparation, and the challenges that you become who you are meant to be. It is in these moments that your character is shaped, your strength is built, and your wisdom is gained. If you rush ahead without fully understanding who you are or what you truly want, you risk missing the most important lessons life has to offer. And without those lessons, the success you desire might not even be the success that is best for you. Your time will come when you are ready for it. Success isn't just about timing, it's also about preparation. If you rush to get to your destination, you might not be equipped to handle what lies ahead. It's easy to look at someone who seems to have it all figured out and wish for their life. But remember, they've likely spent years in the shadows, learning, growing, and preparing for the moment when they would shine. Their time came, but it came after they put in the work, endured the struggles, and learned the necessary lessons along the way. Their time came when they were ready to handle the weight of success. This is why it is so important to be patient. Patience doesn't mean doing nothing, it means doing everything you can while understanding that the final results are not in your control. It means taking action, staying focused, and doing your best every single day, but without rushing or forcing things. It's trusting that when the right moment comes, everything you've worked for will align. It will come when you've grown enough, when you've learned enough, and when you're ready to take on the responsibility that comes with the opportunity. We must also recognize that there are times when things don't go the way we expect or desire. It's easy to become discouraged when the things we want don't materialize. It's easy to question our worth or feel like we're being left behind. But failure, setbacks, and delays are not signs that your time will never come. They are simply part of the process. They are part of the preparation. Each challenge, each obstacle, each setback is teaching you something, shaping you into the person who will be ready when your time arrives. Think about all the times in your life when you thought you were ready for something only to realize later that you weren't. Perhaps it was a relationship you thought you were ready for only to find that you needed to learn more about yourself first. Or maybe it was a job or a promotion that you thought you deserved, but you weren't yet equipped to handle the responsibilities. It wasn't that you weren't capable, it was that you needed more time to grow, to develop the skills and wisdom necessary for the next step. And when the time finally came, you were able to step into it with confidence, prepared for whatever challenges lay ahead. This is the beauty of waiting. When you allow yourself to be prepared and equipped for the future, you can embrace it with open arms when the time is right. So often we want things to happen on our schedule. We want to speed up the process, but life doesn't work that way. Success is not about forcing things to happen. It's about being prepared and ready when the right opportunities come along. Your time will come but it will come when you are prepared, when you have learned the necessary lessons, and when you are ready to handle the responsibilities and challenges that come with it. The key is to trust the process, to do the work, and to stay patient. Understand that delays and setbacks are not signs that your dreams aren't meant to come true. They are simply part of the preparation, part of the process that will make you stronger, wiser, and more capable when your time finally arrives. Don't rush the process. Your time will come when it is meant to. And when it does, you will be ready to embrace it with open arms, knowing that everything you've been through has led you to this moment. When it's your time, it will be everything you need and more. Trust in that.